you will see the water long before
Yep.
Wow, we got our
it actually does damage.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi again. Welcome back.
Hi, Rory.
Hello, Jerry.
Are you sitting here on the off side?
Jerry, are you at Rory's house or is Rory at your house?
I'll share the camera with my good friend.
I see Sharna.
Hey,
Hi,
Hello,
Sharna.
everyone.
Hi.
Good to be here.
Welcome back.
Hear me okay from here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sharna's here.
You guys look too comfortable.
I was just gonna say.
I think we need to get you some bar stools.
Oh, there's a glass. Oh, a couple of glasses. You
So,
should have told me it was that kind of party.
It's a coffee party at my house.
my friend and his wife Judy, we've been friends for a lot of years.
Rory.
They are my primary writing buddies forever. And we've known each other since way back in the Davisburg Rotary days. They moved away 12 years ago.
Yeah,
Has it been that long now? 14 years ago? Wow. They live on the other side of the state, but they're over here visiting their daughter's house. And so we've got a couple of nights together, and this is the start of our 3-day drinking binge. So.
Are you sure that's not Bert and Ernie from the Muppet Show?
You got it. So anyway, so we were talking about rides we want to do, and John, I've got to call you and do some ride fit planning and stuff. But let me do some introductions here before I get going here. I wanted to, I think everybody knows our district governor, and I'm really glad she's here with us tonight. Sharna, Wade, there you go. And we're going to have Mahendra here. He's our assistant governor. He's defying our past assistant governors for a while, and this is his third time, I think, with us. And normally we get our assistant governor one time, so I really applaud you, Mahendra. Thank you. And it's good to see John Cram with us tonight, past district governor John. He and I got to do some road or some planning. We haven't ridden together in 2 years, and so we got that plan to come up as well. And I'm glad to see Larry and Keith. And did I miss anybody besides our speaker? Oh, Amanda. Amanda's a thrill too. So I was just on the phone. Wendy was talking about you today, Amanda. She wanted me to make sure I remind you that you and Deb have a bedroom at her house anytime you want to use it. So she was thrilled. We had a great time together a week ago at Pell's. That name's going to take forever for me to learn. But Deb and Amanda and I had a great time together at Pell's, and it was just quite a good thing. In fact, I'll be talking to you and Deb later this week or next week about scheduling a time for our club for you guys to look forward to the next year or two. And then the other person we have here is the president and president-elect of the Ypsilanti Rotary Club, Mr. Twister. And none of you are here to listen to me tonight. We're all here to listen to Steve Moore. And Steve and I had a precursor to this, and I'm excited as hell to listen to Steve. I promised him 45 minutes tonight. Amanda or Deb, do we have anything we need to address before that?
No, I just want to, Jerry and Deb, both of you, I reached out to Christina Schofer about Ryla, and I haven't gotten anything back from her yet, but I'll continue poking at her.
As soon as you know, we'll launch that and see.
Yep. As soon as I get something back, you guys will know immediately.
We have an opportunity for Ryla this year. There's one or two special needs kids that want to go, and there's an opportunity for us to sponsor those kids. And so as soon as we find out the information, we'll be approaching our board about making that happen.
Yeah, so the very short version of the long story is that they're actually students who are in the foster system, and because they're in the foster system and they've bounced around a bit, they don't really have a home club that would sponsor them. But working with the Boys and Girls Club, we may be able to sponsor them. So we'll see if we can make it happen this year. It's coming up quick, but if not, I will be proposing that we make this a long-term engagement. Hi, Emilio!
Our favorite Guatemalan turned American. Yeah, too bad he rides a Harley, but whatever. Anyway, we are already recording, guys. I would And is there anything, Deb, that you needed? She's on mute.
Yeah, she's having problems with her camera.
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust some things on the fly here, but no, I'm Amanda, thank you for giving that update. I did wonder what was going on with that, and I look forward to hopefully hearing some positive stuff. So
Okay.
it's all good.
Hey, Deb, you and I talk tomorrow, and then we'll do it via Zoom, and we'll figure out what's going on, okay?
Hey, I'm gonna change computers, so if anything, I'll be right back. But please start this session.
Absolutely. I want to introduce you guys again to Steve Moore. I started to do it before. Steve is the president and president-elect of the Ypsilanti Rotary Club. It was kind of fun last weekend over there in Kalamazoo. He was there, of course, for the Pels training as well. And Steve I don't know how we figured it out, but he's Mr. Twister, okay? He is a storm chaser, and he said, I asked him if he'd do a presentation to our club about it, and he said he'd be glad to. And so he and I did a test drive earlier today, and so I'm just as excited as hell to listen to him. And with that, Steve Moore, Mr. Twister.
President Twister.
President Twister, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Twisted president.
I just thought I'd share a little Rotary experience with you guys. It happened in September of 2024, and we had our meeting in the restaurant itself. We usually have it in a special room in the back of the restaurant, and then you go through the double French doors, and then the restaurant itself is right there. Some other club had gotten in there, and the restaurateur said, no, you guys got to have out here. So I had a projector, and I was doing a travel of our trip to Europe during the Christmas markets. We were in Germany, we were in Prague, and we went to Vienna. So I'm showing all these really fancy pictures, and these people are just kind of looking at, I had the screen up, and I was projecting onto the wall of the restaurant, showing all these really cool pictures, these big fancy buildings over there. And we came to an end, and I rang the bell, says, okay, meeting's adjourned. And everybody got up and left. And one of my best new members, she went into the restroom. And when she was in there, the ladies' restroom, a couple of waitresses went there and says, man, those Rotarians, they're really something else. And the gal says, yeah, and they're showing all these exotic places. They must be millionaires. And then the other one says, well, man, they had the ship's bell in there. They all must have yachts. So they were making all these assumptions about us having our little meeting in their wonderful restaurant area. So with that, we'll move on. A little bit about me. I've been studying storms all of my life. My dad was a private pilot, and I used to look at his pilot manuals when I was a little kid. And I became very interested in storms. I was terrified by a storm, I think in 1964. 1962, I saw a big thunderstorm line off to the west, and I says, I think we'll get a thunderstorm today. And I told a couple of people about it, and sure enough, that evening we got it. So that was in second grade, 1962. 64, I was terrified. My dad went into a hardware store. I'm out in the car, and this storm's watching. I'm showing that the shelf clouds moving overhead. It's moving very fast, but the trees started dancing. I was terrified. So that was what really got me going. My dad then said, okay, he saw how terrified I was. He got in the car, and we went for a little ride where I could see the sky. He says, yeah, there's a precip area of the storm. Yeah, I mean, he just described it to me, and I could see it. And then that really got me going. So let me see. If I go to the PowerPoint, you guys see that?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
Nope, it's coming.
There we go.
All right, so I want to go down here. All right, so this is the first slide. We're getting into this is the great July 16, 1980 derecho. If you look at this striated cloud base, you see the intake fold, a little bit of a green, then you can see the pretty bright light coming down there in the tan color. That's morning. That's the daylight coming in from the east edge of the clouds. At the very bottom of this, you can see it's black. When that thing moved overhead, the street lights came on at 8:30 in the morning. Okay, now we're moving on into, this is Belleville Lake. this is the evening before the sunset before a big storm moved in overnight. So about the presentation itself, I call this the fine print. This presentation is not intended to equip you with the necessary knowledge and tools to chase storms. It is more for demonstrating the beauty of nature and the general personal knowledge of what observational characteristics a severe storm would present. Hail, high winds, and resultant flying debris, lightning, tornadoes and satellite tornadoes, and flooding are many of the hazards of storm events that can cause injury or death. It all starts with the Lord. Matthew chapter 7, line 7. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. I've been following Jesus all my life, and I've intensified that these past years, and that was part of my belief and still is. My wife, Marlene, has been behind me on all this, supporting me and keeping the house going while I was away chasing storms. And she's been wonderful for that. Acknowledgements. Thank you for joining me and spending your time here. We share an interesting fascination with watching the dynamics and endless variety that the theater of the sky always has to show to us. Welcome. Section 1, the Tornado Project, early 2000s. This is the information project. I'm a part of the FLIR infrared conference program. I think this one was probably about my 4th paper that I did for them. And the authors are down below. I wrote the bulk of all this. Robin Tanamachi was the University of Oklahoma, my student assistant, and she did projects with the infrared camera when I wasn't there. Professor Howard Bluestein, he's the professor behind all of this. He's the real magic worker. He makes things happen. He managed to get all of the ducks in a row for the National Science Foundation grant that we did that funded this project. Dr. Robert Madding is the radiologist on the infrared side, and he's a scientist out of University of Wisconsin. He became part of FLIR, part of Informametrics, and then part of FLIR, and he was in charge of the information conference. Great guy. Okay, anybody see a storm here?
This is the interactive part. I'm going to say yes, I see a storm.
Can you see my pointer?
Yep. Yeah, we can.
That part up here, when it looks like cauliflower, that's an overshooting top. The elevation up here at the very top is probably 70,000 feet, 10, 15 miles. And this is the upper level of the anvil where it spreads out, and this is the general layer where the anvil spreads out. You can see details in here. Those are the updrafts feeding into this thunderstorm. This is the main updraft tower feeding the overhead. You see where it's blurry right there? That's hail falling out of the anvil cloud and falling into these updraft cumulus below, and that's how hail grows. It cycles up and down in that part of the storm. How about here? Anybody see a storm? Yeah. This is the rotating updraft. This is what they call a mesocyclone. This is where the tornadoes form. This one is in a weakened state, but you can see this barbershop pole effects on the clouds wrapping around the perimeter, feeding into the updraft. Off to the right, this blurry stuff, that's the downdraft, that's the precipitation core, and there's a ball of precipitation in the back rear of this thing. That's typically what you see on radar when you see the tornado. This is what a tornado would have behind it, and the tornado itself could have some reflectivity. The bigger ones will have a debris ball that the radars can pick up if the storm's close enough to the radar. This is the wall cloud, and this is where the tornado would emerge. The May 12th, 2024 is a superstorm. This is an infrared picture looking up the stair step of the cumulus towers, different bubbles of them as they rise up into the anvil cloud. And this is the signature of that storm. Not much fun when those babies start coming down. Two of those hit the car, my rental car. One went through the back window, one hit the right-hand pillar between the windshield and the side windows, and it cracked the windshield.
Where was
Big
that storm,
stuff.
Steve?
Attica, Kansas, on May 12th, 2004. This is the first tornado we saw. That's the visible picture of it. The tornado is about 5 miles away, looking to the southeast. That's the infrared picture of that tornado. You can barely see it right in here. And the thing about infrared, when you're looking horizontally in the atmosphere, you're seeing more and more air, so you're getting a closer temperature. That's what the air temperature is when you're looking at the horizon in the atmosphere. And then when you tilt the camera up, you're looking through shallower and shallower angles of a shallow pool of the very warm air, and you're seeing into the colder air aloft. And that's why you have that color banding there. And the color scale is on the right-hand side there. It's all in Celsius because this is a scientific project. Tornado number 2. There is a tornado there. You notice the dust down here on the surface. There's a little tiny cone here, and there's an inflow slot, dry slot starting to form on the left-hand side here. We're looking west at this thing. This cloud over here was just boiling rapidly. In a matter of just seconds later, there's the infrared of that. It's not very impressive. Seconds later, it looked like that. Tornado has gathering a little bit more of a cone. It's organizing at the surface. That is a tornado by definition because there is debris. There's dust, basically, in this case, rising up because of the vortex making connection to the ground. The condensation funnel hasn't made it to the ground. It's still way up at the cloud level. And then these are the temperatures. I'm basically highlighting the temperature of the funnel itself and getting a temperature off of that, which is area 1, it's 24.4 Celsius. Area 2 is the environment around the cloud base, which is 24.6, and 26.4 is the horizontal reading of the air temperature at the time. A few minutes later, you get the time. The time is given at the top of the frame. The funnel is it's broadening, and the action on the surface is beginning to intensify. And there's the funnel, there's the environmental temperatures. Funnel temperature is 23.4. The camera is warming up, so it's going to give you a little bit of instrument noise. Now the funnel is beginning to elongate towards the surface, and obviously we're generating at least 80-mile-an-hour winds at the surface, getting that kind of a debris cloud, dust cloud, rotating around at the base. And there's the infrared picture of that. The funnel temperature at that point is 23.7, not changing much. Environment's 23.6. It's only just a couple tenths of a degree. And then here it's developing later. We have the infrared on the left and then the visibles on the right. These were taken with the infrared camera itself. The times, the temperatures. That's what the whole scientific program was on this. This is how I got to chase with the guys out at the University of Oklahoma. Howie Bluestein is a guy, he was the first guy who said, let's take a portable Doppler radar instrument and get actual Doppler radar measurements of the tornado, the debris cloud, and the clouds of the tornado vortex itself. And they're measuring this stuff with the Doppler. And they started doing that in 1991. A few minutes later, the tornado is in its mature stage in the upper section of pictures. I'm showing different, you can see the horizontal banding in the top frame, how it's flat, and then you see elevate where the banding goes upward. That's the upward perspective. The tornado is closer to you, so you have those same temperatures as the air rises in the tornado. But in this case, it's not that visible. And the next one down, you can see the funnel much better with respect to the background because of that. The tornado is closer to you than the background is, and you get that perspective where you have that displacement of something closer against its background. So you can see the temperatures showing up better here. This is tornado number 4. This one was, we had just finished taking pictures of the one tornado. We were just kind of saying, well, man, we're just kind of partying a little bit. We drove a little bit further along this road. This road's going east and west. We were watching to the west. This tornado was west of us, and it was moving north. And then we saw another little bitty rope tornado form, and it went away. And then we were just kind of sitting there talking a little bit. And I looked up, and the clouds. You can see this broad, flat cloud base underneath this major supercell. There was a bunch of those. There's just a section of those clouds started spinning rapidly. And I said to the rest of the team, yeah, maybe you want to look up. So we looked up. Oh, baby, we got to get out of here. So we started out there. No sooner we closed our doors, got in the cars, and started driving. It was like we were in a dust storm. The wind was blowing from the north to the south, crossing from the left to the right. Just crazy dust storm. And I said, oh my, and I looked to the right. That dust was traveling on the surface and got to about 200 yards to the south, and then made a right turn, went straight up. And I says, ooh, we better get out of here. And then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, we have this tornado in place, and that's where we were. And that's the infrared of that tornado. The tornado itself, when that picture was taken, was about 4 miles away, and you just can't see that far when the atmosphere is that, when the humidity is that high. You can't, the visibility and the temperature differential between the background and the tornado and the clouds behind it and everything, it just doesn't stand out. But one of the things the meteorologist told me later, that storm was what they called an isothermic supercell, where the rear flank downdraft is the catalyst that helped the tornado spin up, was the same temperature as the warm air inflow. So there wasn't much of a temperature contrast to really set the tornado apart, other than if we could have been looking at in a different direction perspective. If the tornado would have been in front of the precip core, so we had the precip core as a backdrop behind the tornado, I think we would have seen it much better. And there's another shot of the tornado number 4. And the wind is starting to really crazy blow around there. There's a satellite, weak satellite dust devil right here that's rotating around, where the air is moving towards the tornado, and then the circulation, the tornado, the interaction between those two flows can spin up these little dust devils. But sometimes they also form in the cloud base, and they call those satellite tornadoes, and they are dangerous. Here's the reflectivity picture of the storm when it was over Harper, Kansas. You can see the hook echo and the inflow notch. That's your classic hook echo signature of a tornadic thunderstorm. And this is the actual Doppler of that storm. The green and then the bluish, this is high-speed winds blowing towards the radar, and this yellow, with respect, pink and yellow, there's a very high-speed wind blowing away from the radar. And that's called a couplet. That's what they look like on radar with the Doppler effect. And this is the history of that major supercell. Over here on the far left, F0 is the first one we saw. F2 is the one that we got the full life cycle of the tornado. This F0, the next one to the right with the long path following Highway 160, that's tornado number 4. And we had gone around that corner and we're proceeding north towards Harper, but we hadn't gone very far, and we took pictures and we watched that tornado move towards us. This is the damage left behind by a different tornado out of that same supercell. You notice there isn't any vegetation on the ground. That's called scouring. That's what the F5, F4 tornado will do. It takes all the vegetation away. You see all these craters and stuff. That's where debris, heavy pieces of debris, slammed into the earth, and then the tornado winds carried it away and leaving behind these pock marks. And you can see it stripped the bark off the trees. There used to be a house there. That's looking into the basement where that house was. Not a real happy place to be. And that's the tornado chase team. The woman on my, to the right there, that's Robin Tanamachi. She's moved on into, I think she's a professor down in Ohio someplace now. And Howard Bluestein, he's the scientist behind all this. He's a wonderful guy. He's the miracle worker of tornadoes. And this is the infrared camera. I have this tripod. I had the tripod, and I mounted this plate on the tripod. I could run the digital camera, a movie camera, and the infrared camera, and took videos. And now section 2, the tornado development project of 1991. The picture here shows the reflectivity picture of radar of the tornado complex that went through Kentucky on the 10th of December, 2021. That was after dark storm. It was a major, major tornado, and that tracked on the ground for over 100 miles, I believe. At least that supercell did. It may not have been a contiguous tornado path, but a series of tornadoes that form and dissipate, and that traveled across the landscape. Prerequisites of tornado. This is I did spotter training. And I drew this up for the spotter training that I did in 1991 for Washtenaw County. Over on the left, you can see the elevation of the different layers of the atmosphere. The 5,000 and below is characterized by air that originates over the warm seas, oftentimes over the Atlantic, the tropical Atlantic, and then it travels west by the trade winds, and then travels across the Gulf of Mexico and is diverted northward over the continental United States and runs into a developing storm system across the Rockies, long wave system. It's in rhythm with the long waves, and then these surges all come together and you form this cap. The cap is where the desert air comes in over the top of the warm air, and it prevents cumulus clouds from dissipating the energy. So this gets very, very heated. A lot of energy can be stored up, and then when one cloud breaks through it, just like a breaking of a pressure cooker, these storms explode extremely rapidly. This is the twist that imparts the rotation in the tornadoes. The differential wind speeds coming from different directions, that is the most effective. Howie Bluestein looks for a southeasterly flow in the lower level, and then a southwesterly flow in the mid levels, and then the top winds can be out of the southwest, but generally they're more out of a westerly direction, 80 to 150 miles an hour, or they can be all from the same direction called unidirectional. And you can form tornadoes in this, but this is a less favorable condition for tornadoes to form. Now I've drawn a picture of a thunderstorm, a schematic. Here we have a cell right here that extremely powerful, where it's powerful updraft, cumulus, breached the cap. It's been triggered by this original storm. And this guy is right in perfect position to generate its updraft. Here we have 80 to 200 mile winds coming in from the west. 4 o'clock is the time we're taking our sequence. Cold front behind, this is out in front. And then the surface fronts, these grids on the ground are basically square miles, and you see the flow of the air. This is coming from the southwest or southeast. And then the southwesterly flow, that's when this cloud base forms, it's moving with the lower level. So it's moving like such. And then you've seen smoke coming out of a tall smokestack. That smokestack is like this base here. This base moves by itself, and then the updraft interacts with the flows around it. And it causes the deflection of the wind at the surface of that updraft. Now I've taken an elevator viewpoint about halfway to the top of the storm. We're looking down at a plane cut through the updraft. You can see how it all shoots up there. A few minutes later, 5 minutes later, it's mushrooming on top. It's beginning to spin at this interaction with this crosswind, and the base is moving one way, and this is moving slightly different, and it's beginning to grow a vortex in this updraft. A few minutes later, this is when it's maturing. You got a real powerful, larger rotation. And what really, I'll show you in the next slide, but this is down to the surface. You can see the structures, the wall cloud, the tornado forms underneath this mesocyclone, generally between the rear flank downdraft, which is curling around behind this. The downdraft is behind this and curls around on the west side and to the south, and then wraps around the base of the updraft. And then this is the shelf cloud of the other part of the storm out ahead. The mesocyclone forms. It'll sit there and spin. I've witnessed this. You will see a picture in a few minutes that shows the bottom of this. It's a mesocyclone that's spinning. There's slight updraft around it. But it's not really tornadoing. What causes it to tornado is when an updraft in the upper part, like a flanking cumulus, moves over the top of this, or if this is forming under a sustaining updraft of the main cumulus that formed it, then it pulls the inside cores. It causes the lower part of it to shrink, but it also extends. And this, as the updraft on the right-hand side pulls more, this extends down more and intensifies in speed. Like you pull the skater rotating, she pulls her arms in, she speeds up. Same conservation of rotational energy. Now we move to the base of the storm. we have this mesocyclone that's developing. Now the air is starting to rise in the core of the thing. It is intensifying. We have a little bit of dust coming up here. It's not a tornado at this point because you really, well, it is a tornado in a way because there is the rotation is reaching the ground here. This wall cloud is rotating. The front edge of it's moving to the right. The rear edges are moving to the left. That's a definition of rotation, not just up and down. It's lateral. A few minutes later, now you're starting to see a laminar overhead tornado vortex lowering, and you're starting to see suction vortices rotating in merry-go-round fashion around the base of this thing. On the right-hand side, this is a green forward flank downdraft. The rear flank is wrapping around behind this. This is a rain foot. The wind is outflowing and wrapping around behind this tornado. And there it is in its mature stage. Massive tornado on the ground. And again, it's 4:30 now. It's 37 minutes after we took a picture with that tower going up. They can form quicker than that, but this is more of a generalized schematic. And the tornado it shrinks away. And when you see a tornado, it looks like this with the smooth sides. It's laminar flow around the tornado where you can have extreme wind speed changes within just inches. And that tornado is just as powerful of a wind speed as the one that you saw before. They do amazing damage when they're shrinking away like that. And then it's roping out. There's still very intense winds in it when it's roping out. There are various tornado videos that you can find on YouTube where it shows the roping out tornado. It's ripping up buildings. Here's what I'm talking about. Remember, we had the cylinder. This is a vortex that has separated from the main thunderstorm itself, and it's just all by itself, but it doesn't have any real strong pull to focus the energy into a deeper or in a tighter vortex to cause the tornado to actually drop to the ground. This is possibly hail, but it's definitely rain falling out of this. So we have video of the tornado. The first one is a 6-minute video. I don't know how I'm doing on time. Yeah, we're all right. 6-minute video. It's Nebraska and Iowa tornado outbreak, 4/26/2024. The next one's the same date in a different location. So I need to escape from here. You guys see it all right?
Yes, sir.
You're going to see tornadoes of all sizes in this video. This is a very small one.
Don't forget to click those two buttons before you share.
Likely the same tornado.
Steve, I think we're not seeing we are not seeing your screen with the video on it.
This may be a new tornado. The wind's blowing straight up at the surface. It's not knocking those trees down because the suction is straight up
Steve, you're not
at the surface.
Steve, you're not sharing the video yet.
We're still on slide
What?
47.
You're not sharing the video. You're still sharing your other screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. How do I do that?
You got to go over when you do the share button. You got to go click
Let me.
those two buttons on the side. Then you got to click your YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Then you got to hit that share button down below.
Let's see.
Remember hitting the optimize for video on the sound side.
I gotta get it to show up here. Let's see that.
Right.
Oh, that's still the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you got to share the other screen now.
If I close the PowerPoint, share.
There you go. Hit those two buttons on the right side. Remember?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. And then share the YouTube.
Is that, can you see it now?
You got a latency. Hold on. Did you hit the share button not down below after you hit there it comes. There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna back this up a little bit, start over.
Hit that barn. Oh, yeah, slow it down. Stop for a second. All right, go north here. Yeah, go north here. Oh, he's gonna hit that building. Go up, pull up behind him. All right, keep going.
Yeah, this one's where the air's going straight up.
Slow it down a little bit. It's getting strong. Really strong. Slow down. Stop. Stop. Stop.
Little bigger tornado.
Can you hear it? Yeah. We need to be careful.
This tornado is about 2 miles away from the observer, 1.5 miles. This tornado is probably
We're right on
about
the edge.
1/2 mile away, the leading edge, the near edge of it. This is a much bigger tornado. Circulation with the clouds is about 1 mile in diameter. Different phase of that tornado, I'm guessing.
Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. It's a week. Look how violent that is, Haley.
That's a wedge.
It's gonna hit something in a second.
That's at least enough
Look how
forward.
fast
That's how fast everything's moving.
Okay, I gotta calm down, because like that's...
It's coming.
That tornado is about
those houses
6 or
right
8
there?
miles away from the observer there.
Yes, that's gonna hit that house.
Poor house. Looks like
Steve,
a nice-
how wide is that one?
I estimate, looking at the picture there, it's at least 3/4 of a mile across the base
What
where it's
time are we
on
doing?
contact with the ground. This one's
It's gonna hit-
probably the
oh,
same
it's gonna hit
storm,
that
but it's
barn.
lifted. Suction vortices. That's what I was
Oh, I
showing
can hear
in that
barns
diagram.
getting hit already.
Yeah.
And that one's about 1 mile away from you. The near edge of it.
Don't panic. Barn.
There you're about 1/4 mile away from it. They're zoomed
Look
in
at
out
that.
with a telephone.
Look at that roof flying in the air.
Goodness.
It's still going. Look at that.
Yeah.
You got that, right?
Yeah, I did. It was awesome.
I can't believe this is happening right now. This
Oh, it's
is
like glass now. That was
look at that.
amazing.
Just,
yeah.
just. Oh my gosh. Look at that vortex spinning right there.
Yeah. It's
Isn't that
like-
beautiful?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of chasers behind us.
I think that was the best one I've got.
More strong winds. That's okay. It's just getting funneled in.
Yeah.
These guys are in the tornado circulation itself. The wind is blowing laterally, parallel to the edge of the tornado. Normally, if the tornado is developing, the wind will be blowing right straight towards the tornado.
Think we can make it ahead of it? Just kidding. That's a joke. Don't. Only joking.
Oh, watch out for this.
Oh wow. Oh wow. It's just insulation. Just took out that house. Woo! Only took out my. Yeah.
At the top of those trees.
Yeah. I mean, be careful because the satellite could form. And you don't want that.
Oh, yeah.
bushes. No, you're good. I can't get the whole thing in the camera. It's so big.
Yeah.
Dude, this is incredible. This is absolutely
There's suction
insane.
vortices emerging and dissipating quickly.
And it's still, it's gonna go
Forming in this
forever.
video.
It's gonna keep going. Nothing, there's no storms in its path that are gonna interfere with it.
Check, is there a tree about the okay, it stopped.
This is the next video. This is on the ground of the tornado that's going through a wind farm.
Coming right at us, isn't it?
Yeah.
These guys are crazy. Falling debris.
Gonna miss the right side. Debris coming down.
Watch it hit the ground.
We get
Plunk.
the path of it.
Can I just throw it out the window or what?
No, let's just wait. Whoa! Wow.
Oh, we gotta go. Yes, sir.
This windmill gets hit. It's entering the tornado now. It's shredding the blades, and you can see the laminate of the blade coming out. Let's see. There's one more video. I can see
I
if I
would guess you don't chase these on a motorcycle.
can. Yeah, you might get wet, and there's chances of getting hit by hail. Let's see, where am I?
Rain hurts bad enough. I wouldn't want to catch a hail anything.
This is the drone view of this thing. Can you see it? You see this all right?
Yep.
Okay. Just blew the roof off that building. You'll see it fly off there. The trees blew down. There it goes. You notice the hazy stuff on the surface there? That's called ghost rain by the chasers. That's raindrops hitting the surface and then the splash, and that's the mist coming off of rain with high winds. Definitely a lot of it over here along the base of the tornado. And this wind turbine you see coming out over here, there must be a hell of a wind on the other side, and it blows that wind turbine down. And this tornado again is 2024, I think on the same day. This is another recap, but I think it's different with a telephoto lens or possibly a separate drone. The viewpoint seems to be a little closer to the ground, but I'm not sure.
Hey, Steve, do they sacrifice the drones when they're taking these videos?
No, nope.
The drone can actually handle this?
Well, this is a telephoto lens. So the drone is probably a quarter of a mile, a tenth of a mile away from the tornado anyway. So it's in the more calm circulation around the outside of the tornado. It's mesmerizing. And then that's the end of the video that I have to share at this point. Let's see, where is my PowerPoint? I gotta find my way back around to this different screen. Maybe I think I closed my PowerPoint. That was basically all there was in the PowerPoint anyway. So, any questions to you folks?
That was
Did you do
terrifying.
this as a hobby or part of your job, Steve?
Well, it was part of my job when I had the National Science Foundation grant going, and I was chasing behind a couple of trucks that had radar dishes mounted on them. One of them had I think it was a 2 mm radar, and the other one was the UMass radar, which is a 1 meter radar. And the 2 mm, you can see much finer detail, much smaller particles, and you can even see the particles spinning if you want to. The Doppler radars for precipitation can do that too. That's how they detect hail, because hail, each individual particle will have a variable signature, whereas a raindrop or a snowflake does not have a changing signature coming off of the particles. So it's amazing stuff, it really is, what these guys are doing.
You seem to have been more focused on the thermal imageries. Is that useful for predictive work or what?
Well, that was what we were hoping to find. My deal was we only got good data on the one storm, and it was that what they called the isothermic storm. When I made it back to my hotel that night and I reviewed my pictures, I actually broke down and cried. I says, "My gosh, this is not what I was hoping to find. I was hoping the tornado would stand out like a hot wire when you're looking at an electrical panel. You know, it didn't at all." But again, thinking about it later on, or even while I was there at that time, if we would have had a different perspective and we had the tornado in front of the precip area, then we might have been able to see it much better.
Is it likely
But
that it would have grabbed the warmer air from the ground and brought it up? Is that why you're thinking you would have seen the?
Well, you can't measure the temperature of air with with an infrared camera. You have to see particles,
Oh, okay.
clouds.
Yeah.
Clouds will emit infrared showing the temperatures of where the cloud droplets are, or dust, the same thing. But air itself, no, it's transparent, but actually water vapor does occlude the transmissivity of the atmosphere over space. When the stats that I had when I was setting this project up is they're saying that you cannot see anything at a certain dew point, and I don't know what that dew point reference was. If it was the dew point was 60, or if it was 65 or 70, or if it was 55. You know, you have that's what really closes the door on how far you can see it's the fog effect. And as the dew points go up, there's that much more water vapor suspended in the air, and it does attenuate the infrared signal.
You were pretty damn close to those storms. Did you ever get a fear that they were going to change direction and come at you?
Well, the videos were of other people. I didn't take those videos. The closest I got to the tornado was were the ones you saw pictures of with the infrared camera, and that tornado was 3 miles away.
That's still pretty damn close. I mean.
That is 30 miles too close.
I'm serious. Did you ever worry about, or did you ever see one of them change directions and come at you?
No, That's pretty uncommon for a tornado to substantially change direction. If you want to see a tornado that changes direction, go on YouTube, and there's a guy who did it. It's the El Reno tornado, lessons gained from the El Reno tornado. I think his name is Reed. His last name is Reed. Go to that video and you'll see the diagram of the system and so on. That tornado moved southeast when it formed, and then it made a change and started heading east, and then it started heading northeast. And at its highest speed, when it was heading east, it was going 45, 50 miles an hour. And the rest of the time it was going much slower than that. And it became 2.5 miles wide at its apex size. And it was a massive, massive storm.
Hey, I gotta tell you, you need a motorcycle. It's not anywhere near as dangerous as doing any storm chasing.
Well, my financial advisor says, told Marlene, I'm going to make sure that you got lots of insurance on this guy, because we're afraid we're going to lose him. And then we got guys I have dinner with when I ride my trike out on the road, I wouldn't insure you for nothing, riding around on a trike on the highway and stuff. But I don't ride on highways per se. I ride on, when there's a bike lane, I'll ride on the bike lane.
It's only dangerous when you ride with Emilio.
Dangerous what?
I'm only saying that because he can't respond now because his mic's not working.
Well, the funny thing being that he's making fun of Emilio, who can't defend himself, and Emilio is actually an insurance agent. So this is actually much better than just making fun of Emilio.
Usually I'm picking on John Cram right now, but we haven't seen him in a while. I thought I'd leave him alone.
Okay. Well, there's on YouTube, there's a host of videos. That's where I got these from. And I actually have downloaded them onto my computer. I can show these without being online. So I had to be online because of the Zoom thing. But otherwise, I can just bring my computer and show other clubs direct from the computer hard drive. But yep, good stuff. And I thank you so much, you guys, for your interest.
Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you being here tonight.
Yeah, very interesting presentation.
Very much
Great.
so. Thank you.
Steve, we so much appreciate this. This was really awesome. Any
Okay,
final
good.
questions, guys?
What's that?
Hey, we finally got Deb online there. How about that? Hey, any final questions for Steve? Thank you so much. Really appreciated this a whole lot. And maybe if you get into something else and a new hobby or something, let us know. We'll have you back.
Well, I developed a procedure thermally to look at the food on open shelf grocery store shelves with the infrared camera, and I did a presentation on that for the FLIR group, the same one that you saw the heading for at information. It was the 2006 version. I think the other one was 2004, because the storm was in 2000. The storm was in May of 2004, and the presentation was was the January following.
What are you looking for at that?
With grocery stores, with the infrared camera, you can see spatially in precisely where the temperature of the food meets the temperature that's supposed to be, the 41-degree reference. And anything that's cooler than that's going to be the bluish color, and anything that's warmer than it turns red. And if it's much warmer, it turns yellow. And if it's hot, it's white. I wrote a patent on that procedure, so I can do that. I can do a speech on that as well. I wrote a training program for grocery store employees that can learn from this. But there just wasn't the interest in it on the grocery store side.
Come up with the evaluation of good wines that way, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one.
Well, you can see well, if you have the wine in the opaque glass, you can actually see the level of the liquid inside with the infrared camera.
Nice.
So we can trace how fast somebody's drinking it, even though they're trying to hide it.
And, yeah, look at that.
So it has to, wait, Steve, it has to be an opaque glass because the glass.
No, no, the
Oh, okay.
regular glass, but you already know what it is with your eyes.
I got you. Well, John Cram, do you use infrared to be, to keep track of your vines? Cause they definitely do that at some of the vineyards.
Huh.
No, we don't use a lot of high-tech stuff.
Well, that's why your wine's so good.
Well, back when I was just getting into the infrared stuff, infrared was saving orange groves, saving them big time, because an orange or citrus plants, when the plant starts to get dry, they don't wilt like most plants do. They go into what they call a pre-wilt. So the tree looks the same, but once it starts to wilt, you aren't going to recover. You can't get it back. And so when it goes into pre-wilt, you will see a difference in the temperature of the leaves. The leaves will actually warm up to the temperature of the air, actually warm up more than the air where the sun's hitting it. Whereas when the tree has moisture and there's active photosynthesis going on and evaporation, the transpiration of the leaves are cooler. So we can catch orange trees before they go into wilt and die. So that's one of the big things that you can do agriculturally with this.
Really cool. Well, we've come up on the end of our hour here. We really appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Awesome program.
Thank you. I really appreciate sharing with you guys. You know, you're a great audience, and I gain energy from you guys too.
Yeah, we share our video with other clubs, so I can imagine you're going to get some other clubs asking you to come and approach them as well. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Well, make sure I get a cut of the fee you get on this.
Amanda,
Great job, Steve.
Thank you.
Ask you, Amanda, to share the 5-way test for us?
I sure can. Oh, the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it
the truth?
Truth.
Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Better friendships.
Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And fifth, will it be fun?
Fun.
And sixth, will we get caught? If not, see number 5.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks again.
We love it.
Really appreciate all the guests that we had and all you that see this video later. Thank you for joining us later. Just a heads up that 2 weeks from tonight, our program is a gentleman that we met at the Pels conference, and there's an opportunity for us to do community service. I think it's on May 17th, a national Rotary weekend days for doing projects, community service projects. But I really look forward to that presentation coming up in 2 weeks, and I hope you'll enjoy it too, as well. Both Amanda and Deb spent some time with this gentleman as well, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's really maybe an opportunity for us to actually approach community service like we've always wanted to. Anyway, we look forward to seeing you all soon, and Deb and Amanda, I'll talk to you sometime in the next week.
Sounds good. Great to see everybody. Have a great day.
All right,
Night.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Thanks for
Great
coming.
meeting.
Where's the end? There it is. Thanks again, Steve.